All right, so we are right at 12 o'clock. So we're going to officially start our very first Workshop Wednesday. Welcome, welcome everyone. I am Kate Schell with Freedom. Today, seriously, you guys that were on just heard me saying this, but I'm so thrilled with our guest expert that's on today. As we were just saying, I am a total copy geek. I love everything copy. I have copywriting books all around me. So I'm very, very, very thrilled today to have Kim Krause Schwalm on today to talk to us about where to get ideas and inspirations for your copy that speak to your prospects' deepest and most urgent desires. And she's going to get into this, but truly this is what I think the foundational piece of starting with your copywriting is. We're going to talk about the research and what's involved in building out amazing copy. But first, I want to tell you about Kim. Kim has written dozens of successful direct response promotions for top direct response companies in the US and abroad for the past 20 years. Before she became a freelance copywriter in 1998, Kim worked in various marketing positions from brand manager and associate group publisher to launching and running the Healthy Direction supplement business and growing it to, ready? $23 million in sales within 3 years. Oh yeah. You heard that right. $23 million in sales within 3 years. Kim offers a weekly e-letter, a virtual boot camp, and a community for female copywriters, marketers, and entrepreneurs, and has plans to offer more coaching and training programs in the months ahead. Heck yeah, which is amazing. So what Kim is bringing to the table is she's a powerhouse copywriter. And I'm so excited that she is the first one of our Workshop Wednesday to share with us copywriting secrets. So the way we're going to do a little housekeeping today, I am stepping out. I did the intro, and I'm going to turn it over to Kim. She is going to do a training for you guys. We're going to save questions to the end. We're going to do about 15 minutes of Q&A at the end of this, okay? So with that being said, I really warmly welcome Kim. I'm thrilled to have you here. Freedom is thrilled to have you as a guest expert on this. So take it away, Kim.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for the nice introduction, Kate.
Welcome.
Am I the first person to do one of these?
You are, which is why I'm so excited.
I wanted to be first. I wanted to be the first one.
I know. I love it. I love it.
Making my day extra crazy, but that's okay.
Hey, that's freedom.
I guess, yeah. The freedom to be crazy.
The freedom to be crazy. All right, Kim. Off you go, babe.
All right. So should I go ahead and start video too, or let's, okay.
Yep, off you go.
Okay. Hi, everybody. So, but everybody can see my presentation, right? Okay, perfect. So we're going to talk about research today. I know everybody thinks it's boring, but actually it's one of my favorite phases of the copywriting process. It's where the better I do with research, the stronger my promotion, the more I speak to my prospects' deepest desires, the more credibility I have for my product and my message, and the better the promotion does generally. So it's really a crucial step in writing a successful direct response promotion. It's not boring at all. So it may not sound sexy, this is kind of what I just said, but it's crucial for crafting the right copy and messaging for your product or service, really no matter what you're selling. You need to speak to your prospects' deepest desires. You need to provide proof and credibility. You need to make your copy and promise believable. And you need all that in order for your prospect to take action and read your message. So the first step is looking at what you got already, right? If you're really lucky, this doesn't happen in like 90% of my cases, your client will give you a big fat binder, something like this. It's just filled with studies and research and customer surveys and articles and premiums and everything you could ever want for crafting your marketing message. But that doesn't happen about 99% of the time. So what you do want to do, though, is ask your client for some kind of start kit, right? And you usually have to educate them about what you really mean by that. And you basically give them an email and say, look, I need to know if you have any customer surveys you've done or any other market research you've done. If you have any studies, for example, if you're writing about a skincare product or a nutritional supplement, there's usually multiple ingredients. You're going to want studies that support all those different ingredients. If it's an investment newsletter, do they have any performance data? You know, what's happened with their portfolio performance? What have been their top stock pick performers, et cetera, like that. Anything else for product credibility? Ask for customer testimonials. Hopefully they've been collecting testimonials and they have them all in a nice, neat little Word file or Excel file that they can send to you. Are there any professional endorsements for their product or for their spokesperson? Have they appeared in any media articles or had any mentions? Those are all things you just want to collect. Get all that together. Also, it's helpful to look at, you know, what list are they mailing? If it's a direct mail promo, are there data cards for those lists that are their best performing list? And you can even take it a step deeper, and you can look at what direct mail promotion did those people initially respond to that got them on that list. Because sometimes that can give you a lot of clues as to what kinds of things they're responding to, you know, what kind of messaging is working well with that niche or market. So ask away. I got a 23-page research document from one client for this new product launch. It's an anti-aging product, and this is a red hot control for me. And it was really one of the best writer start kits I've ever gotten. Unfortunately, it doesn't happen, like I said, 99% of the time. But it really makes your life a lot easier. You still want to do research, you still have, but it gives you this whole leg up on the process. But like I said, that's in like 99% of cases, that's not always the case. You're often not given much. Sometimes you don't get anything. And you'll need to be the one to dig up all those golden nuggets. So I like to think of this quote that I heard years ago. I can't remember. I think it was Oakland Raiders football coach, some legendary football guy. He said, "We don't take what the defense gives us. We take what we want." And you need that same take no prisoners approach when it comes to your research. Think about what you need that's going to make your marketing message even more compelling, right? If you were just fantasizing about, you know, I would love to have a Harvard study that proves that, you know, Boswellia like cures knee arthritis, right? You know, I mean, you may not find that, but go out there and see what you can find, right? You know, look for quotes from Harvard, look for quotes from Mayo Clinic. We'll get into some of that later. Or if you're looking for a specific type of study, you know, go into your research mode, and I'll show you where you're going to find some of these studies. But here's how you narrow the search down so you find the very best possible studies that are going to give your product the most credibility. So don't just take what they give you. Take what you want, figure out what you want, and go find it. Whatever it is that you need to make your copy as strong as possible, legally, of course. All right. Second step is know thy customer, right? The best way to figure out who your top prospect is for the product is to go back and look at the people who've bought that product or service before. So in the likely case that your client's not sitting on a bunch of, you know, fairly current market research data, one thing you can do is ask your client to do an email survey. They can use like SurveyMonkey. There's a lot of different survey tools out there. This assumes they have a list where they have a fair number of email addresses for their customers. And you can offer to write it. It's actually fairly simple. I did one of these recently for a client. Let me just pull up an example. Everybody see this? Hopefully you can see this. So here I wrote an email for the survey that would go out to their list. This was for a product called Life Force. And it's going to people who have bought the product recently. And so it's just a very basic little email that's going out to the customer. How has Life Force helped you? Kind of giving them some ideas about how it might have helped them, you know, and having a link directly to the survey. And then here's what the survey looked like. And I just provided this to my client, and they put it all together into SurveyMonkey or whatever tool they used. I, ask some you don't want it to be too long. You usually want to keep it under 10 questions. And part of your goal here is, well, the main goal really is you want to get as many verbatims as possible. And by verbatim, I mean what they fill out in these boxes, right? Because while the raw data is kind of interesting, in terms of their age and gender and top health problem, it's the whatever they write in those boxes is going to give you your little golden nuggets and insights into their psyche and what's motivating them and what their greatest frustrations are, etc. So the other part of this too, aside from just getting a better picture of your prospect and some copy inspiration, is you can also often get some really great testimonials when you do this. So you want to kind of lead those questions in a way that they are starting to think about some of the positive benefits that maybe they're seeing from using your product. So you remind them what was the number one reason they bought it. What were the health concerns they were looking for help for? Maybe get them to dimensionalize it a little bit. Like, how is this affecting your day-to-day life the most, right? And then think about how it's kept you from doing things you want to do. This was for a joint pain supplement. And then, actually, no, this was for an anti-aging. And then go on and talk about, how quickly did they see a benefit? Give them a long list of possible benefits maybe they've seen to kind of get some thinking along those lines. And then get them to put it in their own words. So this is like a nice basic format for a survey. We got a pretty good response to that. And I think that we got, we might even gotten some good testimonials from that. So that's one way. And again, what's great about these email surveys is your response is going to go like this. You'll get most of the responses within 24 to 48 hours. And then it's pretty easy to just go ahead and, just take a look at it and get a summary. And there you have your quick research ready to go. Another tactic that I like to use a lot, especially with supplements, is get a list of repeat buyers from your client. You probably need maybe 100 to 200 names. Ideally, it's people who've bought, 1 or 2 times or more, and just get, make sure they include their city and state as well as their phone number, so you're not calling anybody at 6 a.m. California time, even though it's 9 a.m. on the East Coast. You want to be, conscious of that. So here's what I do. I call these numbers, and I actually do call them from my business phone. So, I very rarely has anybody called me back. I do realize that my phone number is probably coming up on their caller ID, but, it's fine. But I do identify myself. I say, hi, I'm Kim Schwalm. I'm calling on behalf of XYZ company. I have just a few questions about X name of product. Do you have, it will just take a few minutes, are you willing to answer these questions? And, almost always they say yes. Now, this is obviously, you might have to call 10 people before you actually get somebody at home, but they generally, when you're very upfront like that, and also sometimes I'll throw in there, I'm not selling anything, I just have a few quick questions for you, they're more than willing to talk to you. Let me show you what I do as far as a little list of questions. Okay, this was for a joint supplement promotion I recently wrote. Again, I keep it under 10 questions. I keep it very short. Sometimes I, in between calls, will adjust my questions. And, based on what, okay, that wasn't a really good flow, or that question, I didn't get much of an input, and I just take notes. And I've gotten some really great testimonials. Sometimes I've even featured the person in a promotion. And, but more importantly, it gives me such a great picture of who I'm writing to. And I find out exactly what they're dealing with their, with whatever health problem motivated them to buy it and how it's helped them. I mean, obviously, sometimes you get, people saying, well, I don't know if it's really helped that much. Most of the time, they have a pretty positive perception because they are repeat buyers. Kate, I noticed you popped on. Did you have a question?
I'm sorry. You were in the flow. I didn't want to interrupt. I don't think we can see your screen when you're, we see right now, step 4 builds credibility.
Okay, so you can't see when I go to the Word file?
Nope.
Huh. Okay. Well,
but that's okay. We can, if you're okay,
yeah.
we can maybe change it at the end. I just wanted you to know that we were, I'm
Okay.
just, but keep rolling. I didn't want to interrupt you.
Yeah, I figured you could see everything on my screen.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Don't worry. Don't let
I'll
it
play around with it because I do have some other things I want to show.
Okay.
All right. So,
there you go. That's where you were. Step 3. Yep.
yeah. So, because I want to show you guys live, like how I get some of this stuff. But let's go back. Okay. So we talked about repeat buyers. Just put together a list of questions. And what I do is I actually print out a little hard copy of each little survey for each one when I get a live one on the phone. And then I just write my notes on it. And like I said, it's extremely valuable. Another thing you can do is go where your prospects are. Figure out where they hang out. And one thing I like to do is when I was writing for, let me see if this will show. I'm going to show you guys a link. Is this showing? Kate?
Not yet. Let's see. Hold on.
Do I have to do a new share? Maybe I needed to do a share.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. Okay, here we go. Oh, that's what it is. I didn't have my whole desktop. Now you guys can see. Okay.
There we go. Yay. All right, cool.
All right. So now I can go back to this thing. Yeah. Can you guys see this now?
Yep. Sorry. Yes.
All right. Yeah, I just had picked the wrong screen share. So this is my little 9-question survey that I do when I'm calling past customers on the phone. Okay. The next thing is go hang out where they are. If you're writing for the financial market, like for investment newsletters, I used to do a lot of it several years ago. It's been a while since I wrote a lot for the financial sector. But one of the most valuable things I ever did several years ago was go to one of these money shows. And money show is, there's like literally hundreds, if not thousands, of investors. It's direct to consumer. They come to hear all these different speakers. Generally, you can go for free or very little money, at least as far as the entry fee. And you get to mingle and hang out with people who are your avatars. They're your prospects. So I can't emphasize this enough. If you're kind of new to writing for the financial or investment market, they have these money shows across the country. So see if you can go to one. It's a great place to hang out if you write for, and also to hear speakers and what topics they're addressing, and to figure out, what are the hot buttons going on in your market. Okay, so let's figure out how to get back to the presentation. All right. Another thing you can do is sometimes there are health expos. Like I know there's one in Washington, D.C. this coming weekend, and that's a place to hang out and just start to see they're probably going to attract people who are more middle-aged and older and have health concerns. If you're writing for the health market, it's a great place to hang out and just see, what these people are like, what's, driving them, what are the different booths there, what are the popular topics. It's a great way to just get to know them. Many, many years ago, when I was working for a company called Blue Cross Blue Shield, many of you have probably heard of, I used to actually volunteer my time to counsel older adults on their health insurance claims and help them, figure out, what to do with their coverage, et cetera. And that's when I was actually working in marketing, and I was selling Medicare supplemental programs directly to the senior market. And that just paid off so much, like especially as I got into, working with Phillips Publishing and then marketing health supplements, et cetera, to the older market. It just really gave me, I think, such an edge to just know these people and know their market. I mean, you can even just talk to your older relatives or your grandparents, and you start to get a picture in your mind of who your prospect is. So especially if they're different from you, you've got to really go outside of yourself and try to figure out who they are, how they talk, how they think, what are their biggest problems and concerns, and then you'll be able to write to them much more effectively. All right, step number 3, find proof that your product or service works. Okay, so this is going beyond testimonials and case studies. This is where you have to convince the rational part of your customer's brain. So with health or nutritional supplements or skincare products, you'll want to dig up studies on each ingredient. And we'll talk a little bit about that. If you're writing for financial newsletters, you'll want to look at performance data on stock picks and portfolio recs. And we'll talk about that. I'm focusing on these two segments because I'm finding that a lot of copywriters in direct response write for products in one or both of these niches. But again, you can apply everything that I'm saying to whatever product or niche that you're writing for. All right, so let's take a look at some examples. All right. Let's pretend, we'll just do this live. One of my favorite places to find studies that are from, prestigious medical journals is PubMed. And I just type in PubMed and I go there. This is the NIH database. And let's say we're looking for a study on boswellia, which is an ingredient in one of the supplements I'm going to be writing about very soon. All right, so here actually I'd already done this, but I'm going to unselect that. So there's 505 studies here. I'm not suggesting you read all 505 studies. Your eyes will literally pop out of your head if you try to do that. What I like to do as far as the most effective form of proof is I want to focus on human studies. So I can select human. Now we're down to 226. And I probably want to look at the most recent, which is already in order. So I might just start scanning through these. And let's say I'm writing for a joint health supplement. So obviously it's for people who have arthritis, typically osteoarthritis, which is what people get in their knees and hips and other joints. And bingo, look at this. There's a study right here that just came out about osteoarthritis. So I'm going to click on that. And then what I'm going to do, rather than read this right now, is I'm going to create a little Word file, and I'm going to copy and paste that right into my file, right? So I already did that here. So I have a research file, and I might do it by each ingredient. Let's say there's 5 ingredients in this product. I'm going to start with one Word file for boswellia. I'm going to put all my boswellia stuff in there. So I'm going to have the link for that study. Then I'm going to copy and paste the abstract for the study. But here's where you want to go even deeper, okay? Sometimes it's very hard to find the full study of, the full version. Okay, so this is just an abstract. And you might get some reasonable stuff that you can use in your copy here, but you're not going to always get the details. And sometimes the really good stuff is in the details, right? That's where you can maybe get a factoid that says, people who took boswellia saw a 53% improvement in their, range of motion within 7 days, right? So you may not get that level of detail in the abstract, but if you can find the full study, that's where you can really mine for those nuggets of gold. So one of the ways I do that is I just copy and paste part or all of the title. I just copy it, and then I go to my best friend Google. Where's my friend Google? Google. All right. So I gotta add another window here. I'm gonna search for this title and see if I can find the full study. Oh wait, what happened? What did I just do? What the heck? Okay. And you can see I did this already. Actually, where is it now? Well, when I did this earlier, I was able to find the full study. Sometimes you have to dig around, but when I did this, it took me here. And I was able to find the full study, which is going to have a lot more detail, right? And I know this looks like a lot of fun to read through. So just dig up your very best ones and spend the time going through those. The ones that, and how I would define that are obviously human studies, fairly recent, and ideally they're from a prestigious journal. So this is from not a super well-known journal, But what I might do is then maybe click on some of these people, find out if they're from any place prestigious. They're from Armenia, so it's probably not going to get me a lot of prestige. But sometimes you'll click on these people and find out, oh, wait, they're all from Stanford. Okay, that's really great. Stanford study proves, Boswellia does this. So, these are the kinds of things you're looking for when you're evaluating which are the best studies that you might want to use in your promotion. Okay. You can do the same thing with ingredients for skincare products. They're a little more tricky to dig up. But again, it's very important to organize all your sources. And when you actually create your copy document, you want to use footnotes whenever you're referencing a study. And then just have that direct link to the study right in your Word document. Because I guarantee you there'll be times where your client comes back to you and says, well, where did you get that figure? Or this just happened to me yesterday. I had a client get back to me about, I think it was a memory promotion that ran online. And there was a stat about your brain shrinking by as much as 8.2% a year once you hit a certain age. And the person was questioning that stat. And luckily, all I had to do was go right to my original Word doc, go to my little footnote, go right to the link, and voila, there was my exact source. It was from the NIH database, and I shared it with my clients. So you never know when you're going to need that backup handy. And so you want to use footnotes and keep those links and just be really, really anal about it. It'll save you a ton of time later. Okay, let's talk about financial. Just before we leave supplement ingredients, another great thing you can do is you can search Google just for that ingredient name. You can get all sorts of articles. Again, they're not going to be the same as studies as far as proof, but you can just start to get some really great content ideas, information about the different ingredients. And then, of course, if it's got a proprietary brand name, like this particular ingredient is called Après Flex, they usually have their own website with their own studies and own information that's going to be useful. You can look also under news in Google search. Let's take a look at that. Let's go to Google. Let's go to Boswellia, see what comes up. And let's look under news. And here you're going to find any recent article. This looks interesting. Women cured joint pain with $1.13 a day. Something. There's a headline idea right there. But you might find, we're not seeing it here. Well, let's say you're writing something in the day for the British market. Daily Mail is a very respected publication there. But let's say you found something from the Mayo Health Letter here. Then you could actually have a quote in your promotion from Mayo Health Letter. So you can find some really good ingredient research here that you can use for enhancing credibility. Let's take a quick look at what you can do. Also an image search. Let's go back to that. I'm starting to find I get a lot of ideas just by searching images, because a lot of times I work very closely with the graphic designer, whether it's a sales page or a direct mail promo. And you can just say, hey, I'd really love to show this tree, or, there's other ways that you can romance your product. You get different ideas. All right. So let's talk about financial. Again, one of the things you want to do is a lot of times you want to compare how does this particular stock pick that you might be featuring in your promotion do compared to the S&P 500 or to the Dow Jones. So it's very easy to just Google that data. Let's see. You can just see like exact trends here over one day. You can look at 1 year, and you can compare, let's say you're writing about Apple. I think it's APPL. You can get that information as well. That didn't work. Why didn't that work? But you can do the same thing for stocks, individual stock stories. Here we go. And also, obviously any financial news publications like Wall Street Journal, Barron's are going to give you great resources. If you're doing mutual funds, Morningstar has a lot of information. But one of your best sources is really going to be just from your client. Your client should have a ton of data about the different stocks that they're recommending in their portfolios, how their overall portfolios have done. And they're probably your best source for a lot of that information. All right, let's go back to the presentation. Moving on to step number 4, building credibility. All right, so we talked about this a little bit. You can look for quotes from prestigious sources within your industry, and you want to sprinkle them throughout your promo, and you don't want to be afraid to do any name dropping. Now, on rare occasion, there may be an issue. Your client, depending on how conservative they are, may not want to include different names. For example, I would be extremely careful if you're writing anything for the health market to not include like Dr. Oz, because he's had a lot of people ripping him off and saying that he endorses their products. So he will go after you even if you're not necessarily making that kind of statement. I would not name drop other doctors who already sell their own products, like Dr. Axe, for example, unless you had their direct permission. But for like institutions like NIH, for well-known universities like Johns Hopkins or Stanford or Harvard, it's fine to go ahead and include them. I do know one client had an issue once with having, I think, Mayo Clinic, or it might have been MIT in one of their main headlines, so they simply stopped using it. But for the most part, it's fine to go ahead and put these credibility boosters throughout your promotion. The other thing that you want to do is, if your product or spokesperson has appeared in any major media, you want to use the actual logos. The old as seen in, and you have all the different row of logos underneath. I'm sure you've probably seen that on different sales pages right near the top, but it gives instant credibility. Let's look at a few quick examples here. Let's see. All right, well, here's something I was doing recently. This is a promotion I'm working on now for a blood sugar supplement. And I was looking for some good quotes that I could use. So I found like American Diabetes Association. There was a study, and I just pulled some very nice quotes about one of the ingredients. And actually, I liked this one the best. Then I have a link to something I found on the PubMed database, and got myself a great quote here that I can use in my promotion. Here is a link to where I found an article on one of the Harvard online publications. And here I got a great quote from Harvard Medical School that I can go ahead and use in my promotion. So again, don't take what the defense gives you, take what you want. Go out and find things that are going to strengthen your promotion, add all sorts of credibility. And I'm going to show you an example of promotion that my client sent me, that it's another blood sugar supplement that is doing this in spades. So here you see on the front cover, it's got WebMD and life extension. It's got another life extension quote. Here it's got, going the wrong way. Here we got prevention. So again, it's getting this implied endorsement from prevention. The American Diabetes Association, Everyday Health. I don't think I've heard of them, but you get the idea. CNN, it's got all sorts of different quotes that are, adding credibility to their product. Harvard Medical School. So again, this is a tactic that you can use for your promotions. I think I have a sales page I can bring up real quick. Let's see if this will work. This is a sales page that's been running for quite a while for an online yoga program. Here's somebody that you probably have never heard of, but I'm giving her instant credibility by including these logos that she's appeared in these different magazines, and it's right there, as I like to put it, above the fold where you're going to see it near the top of the page. All right. We're almost done, and then I can answer any questions. This is one of my favorite, these are some of my favorite secrets. Free copy inspiration, right? We've all been there when you're just looking at the blank page. You're like, what am I going to write? Or maybe you've already written a draft and you just feel like this copy really needs some spicing up. I need to make it, I need to make it sing. So one of the places I love to go is Amazon. Love it or hate it, it's your best friend. You can search their magazines and you can look at the cover lines used on their front covers. You can search book titles for headline and premium title ideas. By premiums, I mean a lot of times for investment, financial newsletters, health newsletters, or supplement products, or even skincare products, you might have free reports that you get when you order. So you want to come up with some really great titles for those premiums. And book titles can give you great ideas. Sorry, got to turn that off. Another thing you can do on Amazon quite easily is you can research competitive products, and you can also, it's like a gold mine of research, in terms of what they're doing with their copying and their positioning and their pricing, or what ingredients they have. So Amazon is just a great place to do research. And I'm going to give you a quick example here. Let's see. Get out of this. All right. Let's go here. All right. Amazon. You can search magazine subscriptions. And let's say you're looking for women's health. Okay, so here we go. We've got all these different magazines, and they show you, looks like probably one of the most recent issues. So let's just pick one. Let's see if we can get a bigger picture. Okay, there we go. Oops. It's zooming in, right? But look at this. Lush hair, no product required. Burn cows all day. You won't even notice. Instant calm. Try this 10-second trick. Instant calm, like you could use that for instant joint relief. Try this 10-second trick. Instant brain power. Try this 10-second trick. I mean, there's so many different things that you could just, depending on what you're writing for, you could get, ideas for your copy. Anxiety in your heart, what you need to know. Maybe it's like two things that aren't very, you wouldn't think of as being related, but you put them together in an interesting way. 7 hot bod secrets. 7 is sort of this magic number in copy. Let's say you're writing for the men's market. Here you go. You got power meals. That doesn't sound that interesting. Let's see. Soldiers strong, So you can get a lot of different inspiration depending on your market. You can find anything here. Let's see what they have for financial. Okay. So here's one. Not a lot of cover lines here, but you get the idea. You can just, there are people who are just, all they do is they write cover lines for magazines so that, they're experts on getting those magazines to be able to be sold right off the newsstand, right? So they've got to convince people to read. And you can get some great ideas. Look at this, 7 big company funds to buy now. That could be like a premium for an investment newsletter. So you can just see it's just a wealth of ideas here. You can also search books, right? Let's say you're doing something about diabetes. You're getting, Secret Life of Your Blood Sugar. I mean, you're just getting so many ideas here. These could be premium ideas. You could even get headline ideas. Again, it's a gold mine. All right. So that's what I've got. I wanted to mention that you can find out, that's kind of a funky way of looking at my website address. You can find out more about me at kimschwalm.com, and I have a variety of different programs available. Plus I have a free weekly e-letter called Copy Insiders that you can get, where I share some copywriting tips every week. And I think that's it. Is there time for questions?
We have a little time. And so you just made my job easy. She just did the whole like wrap up for me, right? Kim, seriously, I've got so many notes. Unbelievable. Thank you.
Okay, great. Good.
That was such an amazing gold mine. I know that. But seriously, like the steps that you just gave, I really hope everyone was furiously taking notes or watches the recording and keeps taking notes, because seriously, everything you just told the group was, I think the inspiration piece is where most of us get totally stuck.
Yeah.
And it's the roadblock, right? Because we say, oh, does this make sense? And, one of the big takeaways was one is know the customer. You have to know, and as you're talking, you're referring to clients. So, people hire you to do the copywriting for them.
Right.
So for our Freedom members, probably most of you are doing the copywriting on your own. So just take what she's saying and apply it to yourselves, right? So, your own customer, right?
Right.
She Kim mentioned the getting offline. We get so used to staying online and researching, but actually talking to customers, talking to clients, finding out in their words. It helps with their language, their words, the way they say things. It also helps you sometimes, even if you get feedback that's a little hard to hear, you know what to do next, right? You know how to, you're creating things for them as you're hearing them. So another amazing point.
Yeah.
The one thing I do really want to hammer home to everybody was step 5. Okay. So step 5, if you're new, if you're getting used to this, maybe you don't have a resource of past clients or testimonials or information, maybe you don't have a place to pull all this from. Seriously, step 5, you could, it's a black hole. So you're going to, you could get lost in all this research. But what Kim told us is amazing for headline writing, for blogs, coming up with ideas. If you're doing a little course, you can look at.
I just realized I forgot to show something here.
Oh, she's got more.
No. Okay, so remember I talked about researching cover lines?
Yep.
I wrote this promotion a long time ago. It mailed for many years as a control. And we had actually tested it in different design formats, but we were trying to look like a women's health magazine. So I went and looked at cover lines and I modeled my copy. Again, I knew what were the main points I wanted to emphasize for this product. This was a women's health newsletter, so I had a good wide range to deal with. But yeah, see how shrink a dress size naturally? It'd be kind of a headline you might see on a women's magazine. The 5-cent arthritis cure, 11 vitamins you should never take, etc. This did really well. So I just wanted to give an example of something where I got a lot of inspiration for the cover just from looking at magazine cover lines. And
it's gorgeous. And that's the thing. So look at how professional this looks with Kim putting this together in a newsletter format, right?
I'm not a designer. I cannot take credit for the design.
But but the idea is, as you're putting this together, you need to think if you're doing it this way, think in terms of creating, you need to have quick, short, digestible, you need your audience to know right away what you're saying. Yep. And a lot of it is don't reinvent the wheel, right? Go on, see what works on these top publications and blend it into what you're doing, right? Just use what's working out there. So you and I could probably talk about this all day long. So
any questions from anybody?
Yeah, we have a couple questions. So So here's one that
Should I click on the Q&A or what do I do?
I'll read them to you so you can hear them. All right. How do you balance targeting the needs of your customers, many of which your competitors are already targeting, and how do you stand out in your copy? In your writing.
You mean in terms of just a general copy question, or how that relates to research?
Let's see.
It's probably both. So
yeah, probably both.
So the main thing is you've got to identify what makes your product unique, right? What is its USP, the unique selling proposition? So chances are it's not completely identical to all of your competitors' products. So what is that differentiating factor? What is the one strong claim or promise you can make? Like, for example, a blood sugar supplement. There's an ingredient in one that I'm working for that lowers drops blood sugar, I think by 40% in less than 2 hours, right? So, and it has an ingredient that does that that's not in a lot of other blood sugar supplements, or it's one that maybe people have never heard of. So again, that might be the thing I lead with in my promotion. right? That's in the cover, that's in the headline, that's the ingredient I lead with as a way to differentiate it. The other ways could be some kind of strong endorsement. Let's say your product appeared on CBS News, or I don't know if CBS News is the best one. Depends on your niche, right? If it was a financial newsletter and your editor was just on, profiled in Wall Street Journal, or some Barron said, the best track record or whatever, that would be something that would obviously be a strong differentiating factor. So yeah, look for what makes your product or service unique and blast it from the rooftops.
Awesome. Awesome. So here's another one. Do we need to worry about copyright infringement?
As far as what? You mean as far as using the logos?
I'm assuming so, yeah.
Yeah, as far as I know, it's not an issue.
Okay.
As far as I know, it's not an issue.
Okay.
I'm not a lawyer.
Right, no legal.
Unless your client's legal department deal with that. But yeah, generally, I don't know that that's an issue. I think they can ask you to stop using a mention if they feel that it's you want to be really careful that you don't make it sound like Harvard's recommending this supplement or Mayo Clinic, right? But if it's just lifting a quote, something that they said or published, I think it's probably okay.
Right, and that's a big difference in the two things.
Yes,
you're not saying in your copy that Harvard actually endorsed this particular product.
Right.
You're saying that the study was done boosting up what you're saying about your product. So it's a much different. It's like Quaker Oats. It's heart healthy, and there's studies done about how this is good for the heart. Quaker's not saying that, but American Health Association is talking about heart health.
I mean, if you look at this, for example, in this promotion, Harvard Medical School says sugar is a critical source of energy for your body's cells, but to provide this energy, it must travel. It's just talking about sugar. Right. It's not even talking about an ingredient in the product, right?
Right.
It's kind of more of the problem setup, right?
It's good in the sense that it does validate what you're saying. Right. By studies that are done. So there's a fine line between them endorsing your product or service or just standing out and saying, this is why something like this can be good.
Right.
Okay, cool. So let's go to the next one. We've got so many, but I want to keep it. I know you have a busy afternoon.
I will stay. I can stay till 1.
Okay. All right. So here's a good one. What do you do if it's a brand new product and if there are no testimonials or customers to talk to about this?
Oh,
I'm going to touch on this.
Yeah, I've definitely been in that situation.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully there's an actual product that exists. Let's say it's a supplement, right? If they have some bottles available, I did this actually with one launch last year. I took it. I'm a guinea pig. I take so many supplements now, it's crazy. I took it. I gave it to people I knew. There's probably like 5 or 6 people I gave it to. My client, I think, gave it to some people. And out of that, we got like 4 or 5 really good testimonials. And they were honest testimonials. People actually used it, benefited from it, were willing to, let us use their name. And we started that way. If the product doesn't exist, and again, I'm kind of thinking about supplements because I write so much for that niche. One thing that I've done is a lot of times there is a doctor spokesperson for the product. And chances are he or she has used a product similar to that they're endorsing for your client or containing some of the same ingredients. So then I've had them go back and ask their patients, hey, when you took this supplement that I recommended, what were your results, right? And then you get some stories that way. You get some case studies or you get some testimonials that way. So the one thing you never want to do is completely make them up. And I've never done that. I had a client once years and years ago that would send me his testimonials and I'd be like, really? Like it just was a little fishy. But for the most part, most people I deal with are very, they're very ethical about this kind of thing. And you do want to make sure it's real people. But those are some ways you can do it. It can be tough though. Like if the product doesn't exist and it's something totally new, you might have to just get it out there without the testimonials and just get as many other credibility enhancers as you can. But make sure your client has something in place where they can start collecting testimonials. And then as soon as you get some, assuming that you get the control with your promo, you go ahead and refresh it and test with adding some testimonials in.
And to that point too, so if that's for a physical product. So if you're doing things like an online product, let's say a course, you could have beta testers.
Oh yeah,
Run it through with them
that's
first.
a very good
Run
point.
beta testers through. Give the program away to 5 people who will give you honest feedback. Any other thoughts on if it's an online product like that?
Oh, absolutely. I'm trying to think. I mean, I've written for several online products. You know, you could, it's easy to share that with a friend too, or you could get people, you know, to try it out and give a testimonial. I like your beta tester idea. Would it be some other examples of specific products that you think?
Well, usually I think a lot of what our group is handling is they're getting ready to launch a course, they're getting ready to launch a group program, maybe they're getting ready to launch an ebook. So I think probably, you know, to what we're saying is that it's sometimes it delays your launch date. So that's the thing. So if you're getting ready to launch a course in, I don't know, April, testimonials help enormously, right? Social proof helps enormously. So if you can push it back, I guess this could be argued, but it would be good if you could get it into the hands of some people, and plus it gives you, if you're doing an online course, run it through with them. Then you'll know when the course goes live where there's holes or problems, or people are like, I don't really need that, or it's too much. So I would say if it's a physical product, Kim's suggestions on the physical product, you know, get it to someone, get it to people that will do it.
Right.
And then if it's a course, and great, now you've got, you know, so yes, you give away 5 courses or whatever it is. However, now you've got social proof that you can hammer at home.
Sure. I mean, I'll give an example of something I did myself. And I shared with this to you. This is the 1-year anniversary of when I had my first ever one-day live event. It was a 1-day boot camp in Los Angeles. And I kept it very small. I had 11 people there. But when I was there, I got some video testimonials. And then several of those people provided testimonials after the fact as well. So then right out of the gate, when I decided to sell it as a virtual program, I had my testimonials ready to go. So, you know, that's another thing. Maybe you have a small event that's live, you know, if you're getting ready to launch something, or you have a group of people that come in and you run them through it, and, you know, there you go. You got testimonials right there.
Perfect. Thank you. All right, let's do 2 more. I know you're going to jump off at one. I want to do 2 more. Get these last 2 in. So here's one. Generally speaking, is it good to be, this is a great question actually, because, okay, I'll ask it and then we'll set it up. Generally speaking, is it good to be positive in your messaging, how to get more real estate leads, as opposed to a negative message, real estate agent income killers? So that's a great question, right? Which way do you really dig in the pain point, or do you start off positive?
Well, you know, it's funny because a lot of the stuff that I read, I just heard Cialdini speak, Dr. Cialdini speak at Traffic and Conversion. A lot of times they tend to say that fear is the #1 motivation. But my experience has been that it's much more effective if you at least hint at a solution, if you're using fear as a lead. Because sometimes if you just have a negative message, people are already bombarded with so much stuff every day. They're like, I don't want to think about that. Or maybe it's something they're avoiding thinking of, right? Like maybe they're avoiding thinking about something financial related, or, you know, their debt, or whatever is, you know, keeping them awake at night. They don't want to think about it. But you've got to give them some hope. So you use some fear, but you also add in some hope, right? I had a promotion. I'm not going to try to dig it up on my hard drive right now, but it was a financial control many years ago. And the headline was something like "Surprise Winners and Losers in Today's Grim Market Reality," which sounds like a kind of a blah headline in some ways, but it was not the kind of, it was in the early 2000s, the stock market was in the toilet. And so if I went out there with some blasting, hey, you'll make 200% this year, people would be like, oh yeah, right. You know, that's BS. On the other hand, if I just said, you know, oh, it just sucks out there, put your money under the mattress, you know, nobody wants to hear that. But when I started talking about surprise winners and losers, and the subhead was talking about a select group of investments that are going to, you know, beat the market by tenfold or more, then you're like, oh, okay, this has got me intrigued. You know, so not everything's losing money, right? If I know where to look, there's a place where I can make money. So you kind of hit where they are right now, like enter the conversation that's in your prospect head, right? And they're thinking, gosh, there's no place good right now to invest. but then give them some hope and that there's a hint at a solution. So whenever you can, I think fear combined with some hope is good. Generally, though, on the health end, like with health and supplements, it's generally much better to be positive. People want to hear positives when it comes to health. I think it's because it just hits a little more personally.
Mm-hmm.
But the whole idea, you want to show in your imagery, you want to show people, generally throughout your promotion, experiencing like looking healthy and looking vibrant and showing like the end result of using your product. You don't want to get this feeling that, oh God, I'm using this and you're just having all these sick people hunched over and they can barely walk or whatever. Like, you want to show that what they want. You want to show what they aspire.
Yeah, show them their transformation.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, let's do 2 more and then we'll wrap it up.
Okay.
What are some daily actions I can take to get better at writing copy, emails, and so on?
Just writing copy. Write copy as much as you can. Hopefully you're keeping busy with clients. If you're not, you can, I know that there's a lot of research that does support writing out copy promotions by hand. Now I personally never did that, but I did used to study like all sorts of promotions right from the beginning. And of course I had a little bit of an edge because I worked for a major publisher for many years, and I launched and ran the supplement business, and we worked with a lot of different copywriters, and I would constantly build like swipe files and collect promotions and just read like successful promotions. I knew enough to be able to understand, okay, now I see why they took that approach or why they're doing that. So study winning promotions so that you understand what's working. To go to the deeper level, literally write them out by hand. There's this whole connection with movements of the hand and how it gets more like locked into your brain. I mean, that's like the really non-scientific explanation, but it really works. So
I've heard that so many times. I've heard that pen to paper. I've heard that so many times.
To start keeping your own swipe file, start studying promotions, reading them all the way through, and that's how you're going to start to get better at copy. And then, of course, actually writing copy whenever you get a chance, and take on those small projects, because the small, tiny projects, maybe where you're not getting paid very much, are going to be stepping stones to that next project, right? That's how you kind of climb the copywriting ladder. I mean, I didn't just become a freelance copywriter and start writing long form promotions right out of the gate. Mm-hmm. Even with my level of experience, being already pretty good marketer, I had to start right at the beginning and just, okay, I'm going to write a 2-page, renewal effort or an insert or, a short email and then blah, blah. And then as I did better at those, the clients gave me bigger opportunities. And then before I knew it, I was going up against Jim Rutz and writing a direct mail promotion. So, take those baby steps, get those samples, and those are going to lead you to that next opportunity.
And so we're going to end that on this big point Kim made. Swipe file. I cannot, and probably Kim can't emphasize enough how important it is to build a swipe file for what you're doing. When you're on Facebook and an ad of a competitor pops up, snapshot the image, put it in a folder. When someone else's email comes in and you like the way it sounds, copy it, put it in the swipe folder. We're not stealing it.
I have detailed files, believe me.
Yeah, we're not stealing what the competitors are saying, right?
On your computer, but then I also have the physical files too, with the stuff I get in the mail.
Right, rip them out of magazines. But
newspaper ads, like in Parade magazine.
All of this, but again, don't steal other. Don't word for word it. Right?
No, but it's just inspiration. Again, that's another great point. I probably should have included, but a lot of times I'll just pull out. Okay, I'm writing for a brain health supplement. Let's look at the 20 different memory promotions I have. Mm-hmm. And you start to get, you don't copy it, but you're just getting, and again, this is probably more, important when you're just getting started and maybe you haven't written 20 memory promotions already like I have. If you're writing your first one ever in a particular niche, you want to dive in and just say, what else is being sold out here? What's working as far as positioning. But again, you don't want to sound like everybody else. You do need to stand out in a way.
Right. Which is where you put your own flavor and your own voice into what you're writing. But at least you have the structure of what you're trying to write.
Right.
So, all right, we're gonna like boom, end it right on one.
Okay, great.
Seriously, Kim, thank you so much.
You're so welcome. I really enjoyed doing this. I hope this helps everybody.
It does.
The pain points out of writing copy.
It does, and that's the thing. As you said, write every day. It's a practice,
Yeah.
practice, write every day. Some is going to come out great. Some is not going to come out great. Just write.
That's a whole other presentation.
It's a whole other presentation. All right, Kim, thank you so much.
Somebody raised their hand. I don't know if you want to.
Let me see.
Anthony.
Oh, great webinar. He's just saying, everyone say great webinar. Thank you.
Okay, great.
Right.
Thank you, everybody.
Kim, thank you. Bye, everybody.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.